Hello and welcome to Where Life Resumes. This is the Innings Defeat Podcast, and we are on the episode 2. I have got Avi with me once again. And through it all, I think this might be a better start. It looks like an innings defeat. What India has achieved at Ahmedabad, that's also another thing. It has achieved at Ahmedabad all the sorrows that we have had of 2023, perhaps of this T20 World Cup as well at that venue, have somehow, somewhere been washed away. And New Zealand were absolutely no match in the finals. Perhaps also a reason why this win felt a lot more at ease and a lot more comfortable than what we did in 2024, where there were a lot of emotions, a lot of things happening around. A win nonetheless, a statement nonetheless. First time ever defending champions getting to the throne once again. First time ever a team winning a World Cup, a T20 World Cup at home, and amongst a lot of firsts. Also, Surya Kumar Yadav adds himself to the list of captains to have ever won a World Cup. Kapil Dev, MS Dhoni, Rohit Sharma, and now Surya Kumar Yadav. That's a prestigious list to be in, definitely as an Indian cricket captain. And I see with how Indian cricket is going, it's only going to increase. And while I throw it off to Avi, I know it's also an innings defeat. It's everything that an Indian fan would like. Avi's been a neutral in this match. He his team had in the semi-finals to India. So, as an England fan, Avi, is there anything that you could take out at all from this game?
I think we can take a lot of moral victories here. As we love to do. I'm in London right now. Watch the game at a pub with a lot of Kiwis and Indians around me. I was not a neutral, mind you. I was supporting the Kiwis. I just did not want. I wanted some humbling. Um, I want some humbling for Jay Shah scripting all these World Cups and all these victories. Last four titles, and mind you, have all been scripted. This is not real. Unless England wins, this is not real. But yeah, we would have showed up to the finals. We were in the finals. I think only one team turned up to play the finals. We would have showed up. We were only 7 runs away. Uh, so, but I would just like to start off by saying that I think you should only let India score as many runs as you can chase in 16 overs. Because Bumrah's gonna give you fuck all for those 50 for those 4 overs he bowls, and he's going to absolutely decimate you, annihilate you, humiliate you. He's going to make you feel like you've never played this game before. And he's the only one who will turn up. And you could be coming off on like sort of 23 ball 100, 10 ball 100, 5 ball 100. He does not give a flying fuck. He's going to say no, as Jared said. He's going to say no. He said no. And but I would say the entire team said no. I think the Kiwis said no. The moment they saw 250 on the scoreboard, I think they came onto the pitch having said no to each other in the dressing room. They didn't show up. Um, and I guess that's sort of lays ground for our discussion about how the Kiwis just show up in the finals somehow. And sometimes they're not prepared. That's basically what happened in 2015, right? When Baz said uh, they prepared for everything, but he just didn't see the ball. I think that's what happened. Uh, we were talking about right after the game that they were maybe like 10 runs above par. I think 100 runs too many for the Kiwi. But yeah, the bottom line is that we were the title was stolen from us because if we were in the final, we would have chased it down. So yeah, you'll never know. So India win this because England was not in the final. But that's the moral victory I'll take out of this.
The ifs and buts that comes through when your team is not in the final, that always will stay. Not that it matters anymore, not that it mattered anyways, because I don't think England was in the finals in any way possible. uh so the ifs and buts can live their own fantasies and they can stay wherever they are, but it wasn't the reality. The reality was that India had its title once again. It had defended its title. But definitely one of the things that you brought up very aptly was the fact that New Zealand knew they were somewhere just working with 16 overs. And you could see that not that there was going to be any other approach, but just how they started. And I liked how Surya Kumar Yadav was rotating his bowlers initially, and that gave everyone a chance to be amongst wickets. But more than anything else, it also released a lot of pressure off Jasprit Bumrah whenever he came in because the work was already done by Akshar Patel there. And it's weird in a team where Jasprit Bumrah obviously headlines. I think there are these contributions from someone like Akshar Patel that get unnoticed. It's very sad how Akshar Patel has become our unsung hero in ICC tournaments. You talk of T20 World Cup, you talk of the Champions Trophy. Well, Champions Trophy was another point where New Zealand reached the finals and weren't a match. So that also goes in. But you talk of these tournaments, and every time you think, yes, we have Jasprit Bumrah, yes, we have Virat Kohli or a Rohit Sharma, but in this case, there was also these contributions from everyone else that mattered. I will go back to Jasprit Bumrah at some point of time, perhaps, because there can't be a discussion long enough without bringing up the name. But I want to also talk right now, first and foremost, about our player of the tournament. Sanju Samson has never been associated with such back-to-back performances. Nothing to his discredit, but it's just the way he plays, just the approach he gets onto his game. Those back-to-back performances are very difficult to come, and perhaps one of the first times it's happened. And what a stage to bring it up in. A virtual
Yeah,
quarterfinal, a semi-final, a final. And it was just so pleasing to watch Sanju Samson go about his game, especially uh, on in that finals game, because I saw him play so much straighter to those balls that were bowled by Kiwis. Pace up, pace up, pace off. It did not matter. Especially when the blade was coming straight onto the ball and he was trying to play a lot straighter. Ironically, if he had not played that last full toss straighter, if he had hoisted or slogged it over mid wicket, it would have probably gone for a six. But he that's just the way it is. And 97, 89, and now again 89. And Sanju, as he famously said in that press conference, those are not the runs lost. ऐसे नहीं है कि 100 मिस हो गया है. आप देखो तो 97, 89 और 89 बने हैं तो वो भी कुछ अच्छी ही बात होगी. Just so pleasing to watch when Sanju Samson bats like that.
absolutely. He came to the party. He joined the party. He made the party happen. I don't think there is a semi-final without his 97 against West Indies. There's definitely not, as I said, the moral champions of the tournament, England, would have beat India in the semis if it wasn't for him. And he started the party again yesterday, which gets me kind of to the point that he also should have been the player of the match. It may not have mean a big deal to him because he won the player of the tournament despite only playing 5 games. But it definitely goes down in history as a player who could have won both the player of the tournament and player of the match because I mean, he set the stage at which point of time Bumrah's last 2 overs were basically not needed anymore because the amount of runs he scored. But yeah, I loved his um, presentation speech where he was like he was rewarded for being brave enough. That was a stunning thing to say. He knows his words, he knows his runs, he knows his bat. He is at the peak of his performance, probably not even at the peak. He can maybe go higher than this. I don't know what's higher than this, but scoring 3 back-to-back 80s is incredible. And yeah, stunning performance. I mean, I think that's what I said about England, right? They found they found India at the peak of Samson's performances, and that's what went down with New Zealand as well. So pretty sad for New Zealand though. They can't win. They can't catch a break.
Yeah, they just
They keep reaching finals and somehow someone does them dirty. Could be the rules, could be the team. It never
weirdly
goes right for them.
weirdly enough, the C word does not come ever for the New Zealand. It keeps being reserved for South Africa. New Zealand might just be right about there. I would love to bring up stats on it at one point. Perhaps we will at some point later in the podcast. But yeah, I think that is definitely something New Zealand needs to find a way to, as you said. Wasn't a bad performance from New Zealand though. Like except for the place of the finals, still reaching the finals. I think they were very authoritative in the way they operated. I thought that game against South Africa was just sensational. But perhaps if you peak in the tournament once, that peak to have again, that perfect game to come again is so difficult. I still don't think India played a perfect game at any point of time in the T20 World Cup, and perhaps that worked in their favor because there was always something better that could happen. You look at this game, two catches, Shivam Dube and Hardik Pandya, they were so easy to catch.
Yeah.
Still they did not stick in. Or as Shivam Dube.
Hardik goes on to midfield right after the drop catch.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, that also adds on. Even for Shivam Dube's catch, it didn't even touch his hand, perhaps.
yeah, yeah.
So it is just that kind of day, but there is nothing to
But
take away that if in the business end of the tournament where it actually mattered, India were the better team and they were rather
yeah,
the best team of the second half of this T20
they
World.
they, they entered the tournament as the I would say the best T20 side ever. They've played the game exactly how it's supposed to be played. Um, they are defining the format. They're living up to the dictionary definition of the format. They have a supernatural alien in their team who just will not give you runs. Um, let you score anything off of him. You hit a six off his bowling, might as well retire. That's the best thing you can ever do. That's the best thing you've ever done. You're never going to do anything
We
better
have had,
alone.
we have had people make a few documentaries when they make six of Bumrah.
Yeah, and yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you hit a six off of him, that's it. That's your career there. Lifetime achievement award right there. But yeah,
While
they've
while we are at it, Jasprit Bumrah, the greatest fast bowler to have played the game. For me, I think I don't even think
that's a
needed.
bit
But
too far, I would say. Definitely from India,
yeah.
but I
From
still
India for
think
sure, but I think on
yeah.
even overall, perhaps across formats, if there is someone
Okay.
uh, who has played all three formats, let's keep that.
Hmm.
We are still already talking of post 2007, but across
Yeah,
formats, the best fast
100%. Absolutely. That is certainly there, and he's up there. And I kind of felt like he would announce his T20 retirement after the World Cup, man.
that would have been
I felt like he's won two T20 World Cups. He was there in the last World Cup as well, right? He
yeah.
he played the tournament.
Oh,
Um,
obviously he was the guy
yeah, yeah, he was there. I mean, what am I talking about?
saying,
Yeah, he won the World Cup. Yeah.
yeah.
And he's got two T20 World Cups at this point of time. He's on the wrong side of 30. He's the fast bowler.
I
I just
think
felt like he would just give it all to his
there's a-
ODI World
just
Cups
about
and
there's just about a small tournament coming in, has five rings in its logo, has the cricket happening as well, is to be played in United States 2 years from now. I think that's the
yeah.
we all are
I mean,
waiting.
I guess he could just play that and let maybe like other bowlers come in the scheme of things for the next T20 World Cup because I would definitely be worried about his workload management and um, I'm sure Rohit Sharma more than anything would be very, very desperate to win in 2027. And it's going to have to be on the back of uh, someone like Jasprit Bumrah. Kohli's won a World Cup.
Yeah.
And when I say World Cup, I say a World Cup. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that this win would have sort of really taped over the losses of 2023. That was also an innings defeat, I would say, the way Travis had turned up. But yeah, I would say I kind of felt like this would be one of those moments where he would be like, "Yeah, that's it for the format." But I guess he wants to play more, which is completely justified. I think there were more retirements that should have come out of this World Cup. I don't think there's been any retirement that has come
Haven't
out.
been any yet.
That's
Not even
really
Mohammad Nabi
interesting.
for that matter, the oldest player to play the T20 World Cup.
Yeah, it's quite interesting that that hasn't happened yet. But yeah, uh, that was a good game. It was such a great team that Gautam Gambhir got a free World Cup out of it.
I think I think Gambhir deserves the credit somewhere. If we are bringing up so much flack, might as well be whatever. I I'm not going to get into what's right, what's wrong, but it's also his win in all senses. And it's also something that Gautam Gambhir needs to be credited for in building and sticking to his guns, even though a lot of us don't agree with it. But if he's sticking to his guns and if he is getting us the results, it's good on Gautam Gambhir. I like the way, at least for these past few months, how he hasn't been the main character, at least of the team of what it looks from outside, which is very good. Where there was a sense where he might be one in that dressing room for a little while. I think that image might have shifted a little bit in this T20 World Cup. Not that we know what's certain, what's not. And with Bumrah, once again, I think the template was laid down a while ago when Jasprit Bumrah is going to play the format the World Cup is in that year. So if he's playing 2026, he will play T20s. I don't see him play any T20s going forward. Perhaps he goes back to ODI till 2027, goes back to the T20s 2028, rotates between the white ball, and you need him in the red ball. There is absolutely no one else you can trust in the red ball. Mohammad Siraj, yes, but that's about what India's pace bowling looks like as of now, at least in terms of quality. So you definitely need those two there every single time of asking. And I think another thing which perhaps you touched upon once again, the other point, and needs to be discussed is the changing approach in T20 guys. What's the ideal game in T20s? One would ask 10 years ago. It was about one person holding the innings, making sure that the runs are kept flowing, the other person going berserk. I think that one person who held the innings has had his time, and there is only going berserk now. And India's been able to do that so consistently. They don't mind that one blemish as long as it's not coming in the game that actually matters or that puts them out. But if that's happening, that's the modern way how T20 cricket is progressing. That's the way how Indian cricket has gone by in these last few months. And I see that's the way how the next few years are going to be.
Yeah, um, that is fair. I think would it be accurate to say this is the end of the Virat Kohli version of T20 cricket and sort of the beginning um, of the kind of game that I would say Sanju Samson was one of an early innovators of. He's played that since this brand of cricket since 10 years. So when people didn't believe it, he is the original bass bowler, if you might say that. But that's the case. But switching back to Gauti for a bit, when is India playing the next test match?
I think
That,
happens in June.
that's the first.
It happens in June. I think the next few months are about IPL.
Hmm.
And I think there is a one-off test with Afghanistan in June scheduled to happen, and that's the next one that they play.
So lovely of Jay Shah to script it in such a way that India wins the very first test after the World Cup. That's fun. That's nice.
Yeah, I think if any team you should be if you're not comfortable playing spin, you should be scared of Afghanistan anyways. But
Yeah,
that's
no, absolutely. It's great to see that we definitely need to play more of these. If anything, this World Cup has shown us is that the only thing keeping the associate nations or the quote weaker unquote nations away from the trophy or the semifinals is the fact that they don't play as many games. I think Netherlands did not play a single T20 international with a full member nation since the last World Cup.
No, they did
Uh,
have a series, if I'm not wrong, with New Zealand at some point. New
okay,
went to Netherlands. There was a three-match T20I series where New Zealand played under Michael Bracewell. Wasn't a first string side, obviously, but was some experience anyways.
right. But yeah, again, all these teams like the what the US has shown, what Zimbabwe has shown, it's
Nepal.
that even Nepal for that matter, is that they sort of crumble under that high pressure situation, which the big teams are often used to playing in, and they know how to hold their nerves. And I think it's the nerves that decided the semifinals. It could have gone completely the opposite way. You could have seen two or three results going the other way around, and this might have been a completely different World Cup.
Yeah,
So
like
I think we,
English supporter, we talks about the semi-final, the nerve that decided the semi-final, and not the nerve that decided the Nepal game.
Yeah, because that was behind us. Uh, we only talk about the moral victories.
Yeah.
So but definitely no, that's the case, right? There could have been a Nepal win there and a West Indies win here, and things could have been completely different. And this was the most competitive T20 World Cup that I have seen. Um, I think I've seen all of them, which makes it the most competitive World Cup, I think. Um, and I have always believed that T20 is the the leveler of the game. It sort of bridges that gap between experience and sort of this young blood, because they all like it has been shown that like all of these teams obviously perform much better in T20s than they perform in the other two formats. I feel like we should definitely be doing more of these. Um, and India definitely has the talent to have like these second string teams, right? And then they send them to smaller nations, but um, that's quite counterfactual to BCCI's plan of global domination. So I don't see that happening anytime soon. But I have to give that credit to England and Australia. They've been playing fairly. There's still not enough games with smaller teams, but they're still doing a little bit. They do play Scotland and Ireland quite often. Helps to have them in the same island. But that's definitely something more teams need to start doing. I think South Africa and Australia also have that kind of a talent. They can definitely start making these second string teams and um, play some more games with smaller nations. And do you see the World Cup expanding?
I definitely see it expanding. I think it's already at a stage where this year you had about 20 teams, or
Yeah,
yeah. So that's already there. I think there is also a plan of going to 32 at some point. I like the fact how ICC is given the international status to every single T20 playing nation.
yeah,
That also helps them. It helps them revenue wise, if not anything else. But at the
mhm,
same time, I completely agree with the fact that India needs to start playing these countries as well. I think India does its decent bit for them financially, perhaps at some point. But it does not matter if you're not playing as much.
yeah,
You definitely need to start playing. India's got enough pool in there. Uh, Send an India A side perhaps, and it still works. It gives you enough opportunities to look at your A players as well. So those tours can come back into T20Is as well, and have these T20Is being played by with these lesser teams, perhaps lesser in experience, lesser in exposure, not necessarily lesser in talent, of course. And this T20 World Cup should have that. I think that is my moment of the T20 World Cup. These teams coming forward. You have Zimbabwe defeating someone like Australia. You have Zimbabwe
yeah,
defeating Sri Lanka. Those Zimbabwe wins were not even by fluke. They were not even wins that just came by. They were very
yeah,
dominating wins.
yeah,
Zimbabwe lost about 2 wickets against Australia in that entire game, and it's just something that you need to just bow down to and be like these. It's about this T20 World Cup was about those teams more than it was about the champions, or more than it was about anything else that has
yeah,
happened in the semis and the finals.
yeah. Definitely like the smaller underdogs like India winning the tournament.
Yeah, you will.
Okay, what are your let's switch it up a bit. Let's start with the predictions for retirements. Who do you think whose careers do you think this World Cup killed?
I think it's already we talked about it last time. Josh Butler, Adil Rashid. I think that's done. I also see somewhere Glenn Maxwell's done. He's
Oh,
already
yes.
said that he's not going to think about it right now because there's not a lot of T20s. There is not everything. He might play the Olympics. He wants to play it. But I think Glenn Maxwell is somewhere
Steve
around.
Smith wants to play the Olympics.
Yeah,
That's there.
that's interesting. Perhaps Steve Smith opens and Maxwell
Yeah.
gets dropped. You never know what's going to happen there. But I don't think Maxwell going forward. I
I
also
would I would think Marcus Stoinis joins that list.
Yes, perhaps depends how he pulls up across the multiple franchise leagues he plays now. The fact that he doesn't play ODIs, only plays T20s, gives him more time to play these franchise leagues, perhaps keeps him in the good stead. Uh, I'll be very surprised, very offbeat. I don't think either of Pat Cummins or Josh Hazelwood are there in the next World Cup either. even though they haven't played now. But I don't see them continue for the next T20I World Cup in 2028. So maybe that's another list to go into. Do you
That isn't what I would agree, but I would think Pat Cummins will probably make a run for it.
do you see anyone from India in that list?
I don't necessarily see that. I do see Suryakumar Yadav's form not living up over the next year or so, and I see him retiring at the end of an obscure T20I tour where he just doesn't perform well and just decides to give up. Maybe not right now, but other than that, uh, I think Bumrah's probably an injury away from making that decision, and giving it that serious pragmatic thought that if he needs to win the ODI World Cup and he needs to be there for the next World Test Championship, um, and continue playing the IPL, um, something has to go. And I would think that the one format where you've won two back-to-back World Cups is the one where you make that decision. So it's probably going to be Bumrah at some point of time. Maybe he's already made that decision and does not want to take away the limelight from the World Cup win.
I hope
And
I still hope that's not the case right now. It's too early for him to just not play the one format. You can always pick and choose. Bumrah has earned that to pick and choose. So
he's going to play the other two formats, right?
yeah. So he can pick and choose his series, whatever he wants. We get Jasprit Bumrah in any format. I think the Indian team just should be.
I don't quite like the idea of players picking and choosing which games they want to play. Sort of undermines the other players who put in that effort and taken that team to a certain level. And I think,
It's more about the how your team needs it, and if your body is only able to give you certain number of hours in a day or certain number of hours in a week, it goes back to the team. Tell your team this is what I have, and I think that's the case anyways. The how he is managed in ODIs and T20s and tests, you know how many overs you bowl in a week. I think Bumrah bowls that regardless of whether he's playing the game or he's not playing the game. And then it's up to the team how they want to play it. It's just how it is with a ODI World Cup, a Champions Trophy, a T20 World Cup, all alternating one another in every year's cycle. I think that decision or that choice is made for themselves inside this. So that's one aspect of looking at it, perhaps. But if you go otherwise, perhaps for South Africa, I would definitely love to see David Miller play. I don't know if he will. The age is nearing 36 now, I think, if I'm not wrong.
mhm.
35 perhaps. That I think Aiden Markram plays fine. I am not very sure of Quinton de Kock again. Uh, he's had his own struggles, not necessarily on the cricket field, but even off it sometimes. Uh, Perhaps Quinton de Kock might be also nearing somewhere there. Uh, I also don't see Andrik Nokia being there for another season, even though he hasn't played this World Cup. The body might not be able to sustain. In England, we've already talked of Adil Rashid and Josh Butler. But yeah, that's about what the retiring list looks like. To go back, one another question for you. We've talked about all these superstars. We have talked about all these names. What's the one name that went under the radar for you? That should have been talked about a lot more in this T20 World Cup, not necessarily from the knockouts, not necessarily from any particular stage of the tournament, but right throughout. Give me maybe two or three names that you think the world should keep an eye on in the next 3 years.
uh, I think I think the cricket fraternity has talked enough about Brian Bennett and Saibzada Farhan. So I think those names I wouldn't say underrated at this point of time. Um, Paku Nissanka has grown and grown. So I think that's also something we've talked enough about. I don't quite know. Um, I think that the US bowler Shadley Van who's done
Yeah.
really well. Um, Not quite sure if players who play for the US really have a timeline, like someone you can look at for the next 3 years because they might be gone by the time the next World Cup happens because they don't really play cricket. I quite think of players. Um, we definitely entered the World Cup knowing that Will Jackson is going to be a very important part of the team. So it's not something I would say that
Jacob.
this is a player we did. Jacob Bethel was has definitely been on the radar. So that's another player that we just knew will perform, and he did. Um, I don't quite think there are players who we expected wouldn't show up and showed up.
I think
Um,
I'll pick a few from Nepal again, like the likes of the Pendra Airi. They have definitely been there. And all of those players, they have had their limelights, even if they have played a game or two. Very interesting to look forward to, especially again going back to how these associate nations come up and how these teams play the next 2 3 years. They will decide maybe a lot of names. And just while you were at it, I thought that was also a good exercise. Let's just have our own T20 11 of the World Cup.
yeah,
Uh,
I'll just drop a name there. I think Sanju Samson is contender for
oh,
that
yeah,
answer because he was a non-starter. He didn't play the few games in the beginning. I think everybody wrote him off because he was not in good nick of form,
yeah,
and that's an incredible way to turn things around and win the World Cup for your team. So I think that's a good shout for that category.
definitely. Okay,
Uh,
let's just have
but I
our
think the
win.
yeah the 11 is a pretty easy pick. I think
Sanju Samson is straight up the first person that
straight
I
up
thought.
there.
Do you
Who
go
opens with
Syed
him?
Farhan or Brian Bennett? There are the other two options in the T20 in the number three position.
I think I would pick Farhan because he really held his own. More scored more runs than anyone ever has in the T20 World Cup. I think broke Virat Kohli's record.
Yeah.
So definitely up there.
Uh, we have number three, and I'm quickly gonna look into runs. I think, yeah, I don't see anyone other than Ishan Kishan at number three position, even Charles.
Absolutely, yeah. Yep.
So Ishan Kishan number three, Hetmeyer number four, or
Yeah.
Hetmeyer three and four between Ishan Kishan and Hetmeyer. And
Did
then
Hedma get any wickets?
I don't think Hetmeyer got wickets.
Mm,
Definitely took
okay.
some catches.
Yeah.
So Ishan Kishan,
Hedma goes there as well.
yeah, Hetmeyer four. You're looking at five. For me, at five, the contenders are between a Shivam Dube, between a Hardik Pandya. I dare
I
I
put Will
say,
Jackson that.
I would put Will Jacks at six, have another player at five perhaps. And dare I say, I give Harry Brook a shout there as well. Uh, Even though five was the
Um,
position he batted, but perhaps
I
that.
wouldn't. I wouldn't necessarily pick Harry Brook here. I think he's sort of disappointed towards the latter ends of the tournament. And I think I've said this before. I think Will Jacks the only reason he plays at six in England is because we can't find a place for him in the top five. And he is just so good. He's good enough to like hold his own at number six,
Okay,
but he
let's come
walks in
back
at
to
number
five.
five.
Yeah, let's come back to five later if we have Will Jacks at six. Uh,
Yep.
you have who do we have at seven? Do we still have Hardik Pandya in the team for the impact that he creates? And then we can possibly put Pandya at five, Will Jacks at six, and then we have seven, eight, nine, 10, 11 to decide.
I think let's start backwards. I think Bumrah walks into the team.
Yeah, Bumrah
Um,
walks in the team for sure. Uh,
Shadley does.
Chadli Van Skalkovic does as well. That's 10 and 11. I would also have given a shout to someone like Blessing Muzrabani in there. Even though I don't know if that fits the balance right now, but Blessing Muzrabani would have been one. Uh, there is also do you do as a spinner, I would still pick Adil Rashid. I don't think there was anyone else who challenged,
Yeah.
perhaps Varun Chakravarti, but just given how much he was hit for,
Yeah. I
uh,
think I'll pick Adil Rashid.
I think Adil Rashid might pip over. So you've got 8, 9, 10, 11 sorted. Now we are looking
Mhm.
at 5, 6, 7, 8.
Mhm.
One of them perhaps a spin bowling all rounder, a fast bowling all rounder, and then two power hitters. So
So I think Will Jackson, Hardik Pandya are
Will
a good
Jackson,
shout there.
Hardik Pandya for sure at 5, 6, however you want to play them. Uh, I really want Akshar Patel at
Hmm.
at seven because there is absolutely no team in this T20 World Cup that does not have Akshar Patel. Not There is
Yeah.
still no reason why he was dropped at the South Africa game. Has to be in the side.
Yeah.
So Gonna give it back to you to pick the number 8. And we have
That's a
very
tricky
free
one.
will there. Absolute free will there to pick anyone, and I think it will just about work fine. I'll throw in a name actually. How
Who
about
do you think it is?
Bosch at number 8? Gives you.
Sorry?
How about Corbin Bosch at number
Corbin
8?
Bosch is a good shout. Yeah, I
Gives
was thinking about Corbin Bosch.
absolute 4 overs at death. His economy was, I think, only
Yeah.
second to Bumrah or third to Bumrah, second to. Yeah, I think he was second to Bumrah if I'm not wrong, except for that one game, perhaps towards the end. But
So
uh,
we've not picked a single captain in the team.
oh, do we not have a single captain in the team?
No.
It's fine.
If you were picking one, I think I would pick Aiden Markram.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
but if if you're not picking captain who leads the side, I think it's Sanju Samson.
Yeah, perhaps Sanju Samson does.
Most leadership experience under him in the entire squad, or Bumrah for that matter.
Or Bumrah for that matter. For sure. That's going to be our number 11. I would love to have everyone pick that exercise and tell us what it looks like. But this has been Innings Defeat. This has been a podcast where me and Avi just talk cricket, and that is what we always do.
And discussed about an actual innings defeat in a
Oh,
format that
yeah.
doesn't necessarily have a lot of innings defeats.
Comes in the second episode, comes nonetheless. For something that actually feels like an innings defeat in a T20I international. Talks about how authoritative India were once again across the final. Well-deserved champions, safe to say. About those little stories, about the stories of Sanju Samson, Ishan Kishan, Mohammad Siraj as well in there, Jasprit Bumrah. Those little stories that have counted. Hardik Pandya. Pick any Indian player, he's had his own story. And that has been, those little stories have been the moments of the T20 World Cup somewhere. And it's always fun to talk about it. And it's always even more fun to discuss about it. So do join us in the comments and we'll be right there discussing these things with you. Let us know how you all felt about this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and to subscribe to the channel. And until the next time we blabber about cricket once again. Thank you.